Thank you so much, Todd Wagner. We're really happy to have you with us at first. You're a successful entrepreneur in tech and media, and you are well known for introducing streaming with the launch of broadcastfm.com, not FM. Among your many projects, you also founded FoodFight USA. What is it? Tell us about it.
Yeah, I think the best way to kind of give some perspective, I'll spend maybe a minute on what the problem is. It's a little unique in the United States versus Europe. It's actually much better in Europe. And then a little bit about what we do to try to solve the problem. You know, the best way to me to frame this topic is, you know, in the States, we've got a food industry that feeds us but pays no attention to health. And we've got a health industry that heals us but pays no attention to food. And because of that, they're like ships passing in the night. In Europe, you've got the EFSA. So you've got one government entity that oversees food from the farm to the fork. You have what we call the precautionary principle. So basically, if something is known to be a carcinogen or some harmful effect, it's banned. There's independent scientific review. There's cumulative effect study. All of that's in place. The United States, to use a technical term, is kind of a shit show. It's the opposite. So we have the FDA, we have the USDA, we have the EPA, 3 different agencies regulating different parts of our food supply. The FDA is famous in that the F is silent. They've not cared about food for 50 years. They've focused more on drugs and medical devices. So what has happened in our country, in Europe, you have about 400 approved chemicals. In the United States, we have 10,000. And that has happened. The villain of this story, frankly, is the tobacco industry. So after they settled in the United States in the 1980s, they went out and bought big food companies. They bought Kraft, they bought Nabisco, and they used the same playbook. Gee, we're good at making things addictive. We've done it with nicotine. Why don't we do it with food? Let's call it hyperpalatable, make it addictive, and see where this takes us. But they had to exploit something, so they exploited a loophole called GRAS, which we don't have time to go through, but it basically was used for chemicals that were safe in our food supply. They instead exploited it and hired their own scientists, did their own studies, no cumulative effects studies, and all of a sudden, we now wake up with 10,000 chemicals in our food supply. That translates into ultra-processed foods. You may have heard that word. UPFs are basically, I call it the straw that stirs the obesity, cancer, diabetes drink. It's these concoction of chemicals that subvert your metabolism and create the issue that we now find ourselves in. In the US, it's estimated 70% of our diet is ultra-processed foods. In Europe, it's closer to 20%. So what does it mean? We've waked up with the following. We have a nation, again, the United States, that's chronically ill. 75% of our country is either overweight or obese. We have 38 million diabetics in our country. We have only 22% of our young people that can even enlist in the military because of obesity issues. It is a problem. And so what FoodFight USA does is the following. We've gotten very involved in state and federal legislation to key on to what Governor Schwarzenegger said earlier. We started with California, and Arnold actually helped support the first piece of legislation, which was the California Food Safety Act, made it bipartisan. We met with Governor Newsom, and we got it signed into law. That banned 4 known carcinogens out of our food supply, of which 2 are now banned nationally. California went back and did the California School Food Safety Act. We were very involved with that. Now there are 30 states in America with different kinds of legislation copycatting what California started. You're going to see state AGs involved in this. We're involved in front of package warning labels. We're involved in trying to reformulate ingredients so that our foods are safer, just like they are here in Europe, along with regenerative farming.
Well, thank you for, yes, it's your applause. You told us a lot about FoodFight USA and about the problems in the US. Now I want to know, would you like to work also with farmers in Europe?
Yeah, so, you know, the first remark I made was really about the FDA. Now we're on the USDA lane, and I'll talk about working with farmers in Europe. You know, in the States, we have been growing monocrops now for 60 years. And by monocrops, I mean it's just soy, it's just wheat, it's just corn. Corn is a perfect example. maybe 1% of the corn grown is actually eaten by a human. 99% of it is turned into high fructose corn syrup or ethanol or fed to the animals, which turns into the omega-6 inflammatory conditions that people have. So the Farm Bill is a big part of that. And crop insurance was put in place to be able to give the farmers an ability to grow that. But now we're at a different place. And since World War II, we've used a lot of what I call the sides, the pesticides, the herbicides, the insecticides. And what that's done, and we referred to it earlier, is the topsoil. We've lost half of our topsoil in the Midwest, the part of the country I'm from. And they estimate within 50 years our topsoil will be gone. So yes, we are huge fans of regenerative farming, crop rotation, cover crops, low or no tillage so we can have carbon sequestration, all the things that everybody up here is an expert on and understands. But we have to flip in the States, the USDA, to be able to understand that conventional farming needs to be the exception, not the rule, and that this kind of regenerative farming can be scaled. That's the world I understand as technology. It can be scaled. There's tools available. In Europe, we're working with Campo Verde, who's a company out of Germany who leads the way with Demeter certified foods, and we're trying to get more of that into people's hands.
FoodFight USA!